The woman was born infertile, but after getting remarried, she unexpectedly began having morning sickness. But in the past, she had tried for 7 years and still could not get pregnant, so she could not bring herself to believe that she would suddenly have a child now. So she threw the pregnancy test into the trash can. But just as she turned around, out of the corner of her eye, she saw 2 clear red lines on it. And in that moment, she froze in place. It turned out that in the first year after the woman and her ex-husband got married, she was diagnosed with infertility. She broke down and had no idea what to do, so she could only sadly ask him for a divorce. Unexpectedly, her husband said very firmly that he did not want children and only wanted to be with her for the rest of his life. She originally thought love could withstand every hardship, but as her mother-in-law's calls urging them to have a baby became more and more frequent, their life together slowly became harder to hold on to. The woman stood behind her husband without saying a word. In her heart, how could she not understand how difficult it was for him? How could an only son in his 30s, who had already achieved some success in his career, have no descendants? So she began conditioning her body, bowl after bowl of Chinese medicine so bitter it made her nauseous, injection after injection of ovulation-inducing drugs that pushed her to the verge of collapse, and the pain after failed IVF attempts again and again. There was also the restless anxiety while waiting for the results, as well as the piercing, strange looks from others that cut straight into her heart. Over the past 7 years, the woman had tried every method, but in the end, she still failed to get a good result. Countless times, she suddenly woke up from her dreams, then ran to the mirror and imagined that she really had become pregnant. But she never expected that the first person who could no longer hold on would be the husband she trusted the most. He brought up divorce. In the end, their 7-year relationship still came to an end because she could not have children. Even more ironically, he was getting remarried next month, and the woman he was marrying had been introduced to him by his mother. The woman did not try to make him stay. Perhaps her tears had already dried up over those 7 years. Before leaving, she only said, "I wish you happiness." After saying those words, she instead felt a kind of relief and ease, as if she had finally put down a heavy burden. Not long after, the woman received her ex-husband's wedding invitation. Seeing that he had cast aside the past and started a new life, yet still wanted her to show up in person and give him her blessing, she was so angry that she threw the invitation aside. That day, a co-worker at the company called her into the office and asked whether she had ever thought about getting married again. The co-worker had always thought highly of her and also knew about her current situation. Her son was also unable to have children, so she wanted to find a companion for her son, only hoping that the two of them could live a peaceful and stable life together. After hearing this, the woman felt a little bitter inside. So it turned out that when two flawed people were put together, it was called a good match, not because of their personalities, and not because of love, but simply because neither of them was complete. The co-worker's son worked in a government office and had a stable income. If the woman married him, she would not have to worry about daily living expenses. She could just treat it as finding a companion to live with and get through life together. At least in the future, people would no longer gossip about her behind her back. Thinking back on all the grievances she had suffered over the years, the way others had pointed fingers at her and looked at her strangely, she suddenly felt that finding someone who could understand her might actually be pretty good. So she agreed on the spot to marry the co-worker's son. The next day, the two met at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. As soon as the man got out of the car, he caught the woman's attention. He was tall and clean-cut, and he spoke very gently. The woman knew very well in her heart that with conditions like his, if it had not been for the fact that he could not have children, he probably would not have ended up here today. Just like that, the two became husband and wife. After the wedding, the woman moved into the man's home, but to her